Okay, now these are going to move a little faster now because we're not going to hold your hand quite as much. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. Tell me one of those things.
Just then, it felt like it took a while for the eighth notes to really settle in.
Okay, good. Yeah, you heard that. You know why that was?
I think, is it something to do with my, like where I'm placing the octave
Oh, could be.
in relation to my pattern? Am I not being clear enough with that?
No, actually, I think you're being, in a lot of ways, too clear. And not putting the onus on them to create the subdivision because you're creating the subdivision for them, and therefore they've decided, oh, you're subdividing a lot of it. Okay, so what you're going to see in the video is this breaks a lot to create this eighth note subdivision. Could you just conduct your prettiest legato for us? It's too vertical to me. It needs to stay on the string longer and be more attached to, yes. This is different than floppy legato. No one likes to play for floppy legato because it's hard to discern what to do with it. But if we stay more true to the horizontal plane rather than the vertical plane, it says to pull through notes. It helps the strings pull through their notes, it helps the brasses pull through their notes, etc., etc. So I think you need to look in a mirror, watch this video, and try to show where the subdivision is without showing the subdivision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the top a bit and see if you can do that. No solo. Just the accompaniment. So this is really a 1, 3, 1. 2 and 4 don't seem as important as 1 and 3.
Right.
Yeah? Great. Okay, so if we had tuba here, how many of you play on the downbeat? Great. I just want you to conduct the downbeat, and I'll sing it. Okay, so for those of us playing on the downbeat, are you getting the energy that you need from her?
Like slow air.
It seems like slow air. Is that what you need?
Maybe not.
Maybe not, okay? I think it needs to show more engagement with the air that these people require, or the preparation that those people require, okay? So I need you to breathe into that gesture just a bit more, okay? like that. Not just, oh, that melody sounds pretty, but what's the quality of this note? And then obviously we're worried about what the response would be like. And then issues like, should there be taper on that? Do you think there should be?
I think
Or is it
maybe-
more stable?
Well, like it overlaps, like,
Mm-hmm.
so overall, I think it's very, like it's continuous.
Right, you have one group that enters before this one
Mhm.
is out,
But
right?
maybe there should be just a little bit of taper.
So there's some dovetailing
Yeah.
involved, okay? So good. So we're thinking about that. Now, this was a lovely solo that Joe played, right? Did you tell him at any point that it was lovely?
Probably.
Okay, how can we do that?
Smile, nod.
Yeah, and you know, maybe this isn't the kind of music for that, but maybe just a little bit of acknowledgement like, yep, that's the right dynamic. Think about when you were playing this and I was conducting, and I just gave you a little bit of, yep, you're on the right track.
Right.
But we can also say, that's a little much, you don't have to push here. That sounds really nice. So you want to make sure that you give him information. What information are you going to give him before he even comes in?
A
Think-
breath and like confidence.
Yeah, right? And character,
Yeah.
right? He needs to know what dynamic to come in, what the tempo is going to be, hopefully, he's got it by now, what the character is, all of that, what the articulation is, and you have to show him that. And once he's in, you say, good job, and then you move on. Okay, let's begin. This is good? You're really quick. You went like this. And then down. Rather than just thinking, yeah, very consistent. Sink into that just a bit. Don't stop. Doesn't he sound good? So I'm throwing a bunch of stuff at you. What do you feel internally when that music is happening? And I'm not talking about emotional content, I'm just talking about musical content.
I, like the accompaniment part?
Could
Or
be.
just all of it?
I feel, and I think we all need to feel, subdivision.
Yeah.
Slow music demands that we really subdivide. If you listen without watching, you'll notice they're slowing down
Yeah.
a bit. And some of that's being reactive and not pushing them along enough. And we do that by and there's life inside those long notes too. Okay? Let's jump ahead to A. Right on the down of A. La da dee da dee da da. Okay? So do you, now you've only lived with this music for 9 minutes and 15 seconds, but do you think that this should be different than the beginning? How?
Well, the texture is different, and I feel like, it should be like fuller.
Yeah. What else?
Should indicate that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you don't want to use the same affect like, oh, we're still in this transparent texture. Now it's much fuller, and you're ready to accept some of that sound. And I don't know, maybe try it even though it says odd tempo. Maybe push that tempo just a bit. It seems like those 8 notes just beg for it.
Okay.
Okay, A again. Doing great. so that they don't play da dee da da dee da 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 da. How might we go about that in the simplest way possible? Yeah, maybe it's this. Let me try something. A. Now we can do this, we can, like get out the scarves, but there are a lot of ways that we can show line just by moving in and out, things like that. So be thinking about that as you're continuing to live with this music. Great, give me a high five, that's great. Next, Megan. Oh, okay, not Megan. Next. Not everybody at once, but there's only room for one up there.
Are we gonna be graded on the whole?
As much as I can get you through. All right, I'm probably gonna stop you at the Fermata, because I'm not gonna have to do that. Okay? Allison, I see the baton is ready. Okay, from the top. Oh, don't give me frowny face. Now, I mean, Jen survived, right? Yeah, so you're going to as well. let's talk about what you heard at the beginning.
I didn't think I did a good job of the first beat. It didn't seem
Here's a great thing about this class, you get to work on that, right? So we're going to work on that. One thing technically that I just want to bring to your attention, and you're kind of new to using the baton, so this is fine, and in fact, I was kind of over there trying to mimic your grip and things like that. I think this is fine, and you're using your wrist, but the tip of the baton doesn't seem to want to come down and make contact with the ictus. So it's just feeling like the baton is kind of dragging in some fabric, if you will, and that it's a little more connected to the sounds out here. You always want the tip of the baton, or if you're just using your hands, to always be in contact with this sound. how we influence that sound will depend a lot on getting this activated. Right now, it seems like the beat is kind of in your fingers rather than all the way down to that tip of the baton, okay? So let's just work on this very first note. I think we see, this is a bad thing that I do as well. I see pianissimo, I see soft, I see transparent, and I have a tendency to give a preparatory beat like, and that is frightening for people like Serena. She's like, oh my God, I can't do that. So sometimes we have to give a little more than we think we should, okay? We can still say pianissimo, but show them a full breath, because she's going to have to take a pretty big breath to get that note to be rich and resonant and warm and all the things that we want it to be. So let's just practice those of us that have the downbeat, particularly Serena. What do you think about that?
Better. I thought about taking a breath.
Yeah, that's good. I think all of us should memorize the first 3-4 measures of the music so that we're able to maintain contact with the people that play at the beginning. A lot of what I see is down. The head drops down and your hands kind of go like that, rather than thinking, placing the note where it should be. Placing. Okay? So just think about the notes, maybe this shape, I'm just going to place them. Okay? Try it. Good, that's better. Consistent speed, up and down. So be subdividing in your head, you're just thinking, and tick, tock, boom. Tick, tock. Okay. Better, right? Now they have some definition. Now we just want to take out and hear a little bit of at the beginning. We just want to make sure that when we place it, we're not dropping the note. That we're just showing them exactly where to put it. So just softening up some of the gesture. Okay? Yeah, much more successful. So it's all thinking about how should that sound enter out of silence. Jerry Junkin at the University of Texas, fantastic conductor like this, you know. But that's his big thing. He'll say, whenever I'm looking at a score, I'm thinking in the first measure, how does that sound emerge out of the silence? And then how can I communicate that to the ensemble? So you have to think about the breath, the articulation, all the things you'd think about if you were sitting down and playing. Okay? Let's go on this time. Okay? So we're going to cue Joe at measure 3, and he needs the information before he plays, right? No. Remember to get your baton down into the sound. Joe appreciates the smile. Thank you. Right, great. So Allison, she enters, I have my measures numbered, and I can't tell you, let's see what measure that is, 11, 12, 13.
You guys see that?
La da dee. So does the oboe, and so does the solo clarinet. So it's adding to the color of that clarinet solo, or right now the trumpet solo. So they need some information as well. I'm saying this to her, and I'm really saying it to all of you. They need information too, like this is the time that you come in with the melody. Oh, it's a little much. you want to shape that. Let's skip ahead, I know I'm going a mile a minute here, to letter A. And just like I was telling Jen, A should probably maybe be just a touch different than the opening, the first verse, if you will. So this is the second verse. There's a lot of,
Oh, sorry.
well, it's pretty, right? They're playing really well for you, and there's a little, oh, this is really nice. So, now, that's not a bad thing to have happen. It's not necessarily the greatest thing that's coming out this way, like, we are the world, or something like that, or kumbaya. So, okay, you have to ask yourself, when you see yourself doing that, or you notice yourself doing that, why am I doing that? And there's something musical that's causing you to want to do this. So what is it, if you had to guess?
I think it's that eighth note wave pattern.
Yeah, right. So then you've identified, okay, it's this element of the music that's causing me to react this way. How can I show that information in a way that is a little more impactful and influential to what they're doing, rather than, oh, this makes me feel good to do this, right? So you have to ask yourself, okay, what can I do here, out in front of my body, rather than here, that doesn't really influence them, that could show that kind of energy? You know, maybe it's a little more verticality to this. Maybe it's a little more horizontal. Maybe you want to move more across your frame. Could be that. And it's a lot of trial and error. I'm going to try this. Does that influence them? No. Okay, I'm going to try something different. But I want you to try one thing. Okay? Anything at letter A that's not.
Yeah.
I like that you have good feelings about the music. So do I. Okay. Outside our box. This might be a time, in the words of Bob Reynolds, floppier. Maybe this is the time to be a little floppier, to be a little more outside of the box. No one's going to say, oh, that's way too expressive. No, way too expressive. Okay? Good job. Thank you. All right, next. Okay, great. This probably feels a little bit different than the first episode, right? Yes. Okay. Now we're into like, pull up the big boy pants. Okay.
short on time, I'm just gonna dive right in. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So let's go for it, okay? I would like to see you make more contact with the sound that you're listening to. I don't know how it feels to play, but I feel like you feel the somberness of it, but it's trapped right here, and it's not really getting out to them. I think the message that they're getting is a little bit of a flat affect rather than the somberness of what the piece is. So let's see if we can work on that connection. First thing I'd like you to do is let's see if we can just set up. And maybe you can have a little bit more resonant space right here. Yeah, right? Because how does this look versus, right, we have a little bit more invitation this way. And I think maybe they'll feel a little more comfortable with that space. And I'd like you to just dip into the sound. And not even really with your elbow at all, just kind of one beat at a time, dip. See if you can do it with your wrist and fingers. Dip. Maybe everybody can try this with us. Dip into the sound. Do a few. Dip. And really feel like you're pushing something. Like if I have a memory foam pillow right here, and you like, pull out your left hand, and I'm gonna dip. Like you feel there's something there, you know what I mean? And I'm not going like, just, and you're playing this right here. Yeah. And now let's dip into B2 over here. 2, right? B3's over here. B4's here. Fantastic. And so let's together just we'll go dip, dip, dip. And can you have a little bit more life maybe to the tip of the baton? It rebounds, it dips. Great. You see what we're getting? More of what you were just doing is kind of like a fixed object of right here. Like, here's my arm. And I'm exaggerating. But I think that's going to help your connection with them. Okay. Let's try again from the beginning. And that resonant space, you can take up a little more room. Okay? You and everybody to take care to realize that the utilization of the wrist isn't down here. You want to keep the plane right here in front of you where you can maneuver it rather than kind of down here. So the dipping is a good analogy for what to do, but take care that it doesn't become like this. I want to just get some different characters out of you. We'll go from the beginning again, and I want to see from you how you feel about this resonant beginning versus how it feels here. See if you can make that happen. Thanks. Maybe you'll just see the plane and you can continue to work on that. What can you do to guide this beginning? And this isn't really a loaded question. What do you think needs help from the beginning to A?
I think having since it's kind of a slow tempo, having the phrases go all the way through with like an overarching shape is tricky.
I find this endlessly amazing when you guys do this, because Jen just did the exact same thing. Dr. Vondra was talking to you about continuous motion, and Jen said continuous, and she goes like this. And you're talking about, oh, I want the phrase shape to, be longer, and then you go like this. And it's like, well, maybe that's something that you can do with your hands, right? Because I'm looking, you have a really pretty legato, it feels really comfortable. Your left hand's inviting, but it's just kind of in the space. What can you do to help it feel that longer line? Let's try the beginning one last time, and then we'll jump to A for whatever time we have, which is, oh, awesome, fantastic. have to give her major kudos because she tried something, right? It was very clear, this is what I want to happen, and you did something. You did it. And I'll tell you what, on that borrowed floor harmony, it kind of worked. Or maybe you ran out of room, but you guys knew what she meant, right? And then you were like, okay, we'll go along for this ride. We'll see what happens. The trick I want you to think about, and everybody to think about, is what makes a gesture look believable enough that I want to come on board with you. You know, maybe stew on that for a little bit. If I'm here and I'm going like this, like I don't really know what that means. I don't really know what I want. But if I'm like, you know, Jen's like, oh, I need to do something right here. So consider as you're practicing and, you know, whatever you're doing, you know, if I'm, oh, I know what that means versus I don't totally know what that means. But the good news is, you know, you're affable and they like you and they wanted to go along for the ride, so it worked out okay. Let's try it A. Very, very good. Fantastic. Why don't we get a better start? Okay. This is right on box A. Now is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how about this? On a scale of 1 to 10 at A, this is a good question for everybody, how strongly do you feel about what you want to do? Because they can play it without you, right?
Yeah. Well, that time probably like 6, but should be more like 10.
Well, there's 2 questions. Question 1 is, how strongly do you feel about it? And question 2 is, how strong is your message? Right? So think about, you know, maybe I won't make you answer it out loud, but think, what was your own conviction? And then how strong is your message to influence whatever you wanted them to do? Can we try an experiment? We're going to put this down. And I only want you to conduct musical messages at A. No beats, only line, and you can do whatever you want. I don't care if you do this or this, or do something that musically influences how you need this to go. You can't live without it. You have to do it.
Can I start?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Some technical things to explore right here, and then how can you incorporate your being into making that message really clear for the people who are playing for you? Awesome job. All right. Serena. Okay.
How you doing, Serena?
I'm good.
Good.
Hey, cellos, do you mind maybe playing the bassoon part? Maybe Anish, you can cover her out. Okay, awesome. you made a lot of improvements from your first time around too. So I think you're doing a great job. No need to be sorry about anything. We'll do just like we did. We'll do just like we did. We'll do the beginning for a few minutes and then we'll jump to A. Okay, so what were you sorry about? You just said sorry about.
I mean, it was just, I didn't really think about the tempo in the way that I should have before I started the piece. And then it ended up being really slow, so she had to play for a long time.
Did she? Well, okay, this is interesting though, right? Did she? Did she have to?
I mean, no.
Right, you could have, right? You can do something about that,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So if you decide by measure 3 that, oh, this is, you know, Jen's looking at like, oh my God, this is you know, there's something that you can do about that, right? So if you notice it's happening, just change it. It'll be no problem. The thing that I want to spend a minute with you is, I don't know that the rebound of the baton is in the character of the music that you really intend.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but it seems like kind of a hot, fast rebound. Yeah, and so I think if you can, you know, if this is your stream of air, you know, as it were, the playing, maybe you can keep that a little bit more fluid to enable them to feel like this is a little bit more fluid. And then maybe like Megan, that'll help your connection to move it forward if you so choose to move it forward that way.
Okay.
You want to give that a go again?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. Let's just do that for a minute. Can everybody please say ta with the articulation, resonance, and whatever other information she gives you? The first two we know, the ta. That was already way better. It's better than a moment ago. Can you think about maybe giving it a little bit more of a full breath and a little bit more resonance on the downbeat? Awesome. And do you see that? Hey, right? I'd like you to figure out where here that's happening for you. And the loaded question is it happening here or is it not?
Okay.
I see it, I don't know about you guys, about right here, right? Here, touch it here when you want them to talk. Does that feel different?
Yeah.
You're not gonna hurt the stand.
Right. So maybe we give it a little, like kind of the press thing that we were working on. Okay. Can you let it lead from the wrist and let the wrist initiate what you're doing with the baton? Right. Can I do it with you for a moment? Okay. Maybe something like, right, did you see how like
Yeah.
here goes everybody, we'll top. Maybe we'll lead right here and right, as opposed to this, everybody. You see kind of the difference?
Yeah.
Right, why don't we try it just a couple more times? Right, and maybe we'll keep a little bit more contact with it. One more time. Right, it's more elegant, right? It's got a little bit more, maybe room for opportunity. Maybe that's what you want, maybe not, but it's at least a good play. Let's play. We'll go from the top. And if you don't like the tempo, do something better. Thanks. I'm whispering in your ear. What are you noticing over here?
So there's like the rebound, like you were saying before.
Yeah.
It's a little harsh.
To be honest, I think they're giving you a gift a little bit. I think that they're giving you more of a connection in that tenuto maybe than you're asking for
Okay.
before. I'd like to do this part at least one more time, and I want you to think about keeping it all right here, and I want you to pull them through the sound. So it's got like some tension and gravitas to it.
Okay.
And I'd love you to play with whatever texture that she's giving you. If you see that hot rebound, do something different. If you see the connection, play it with that connection. Right? Be really honest with what she's giving you here. But did you hear when I asked them to do that a moment ago? Particularly Aaron, I heard it from, was giving kind of those impulses. And we want to try to, the thing is, in this music, it'll probably be okay, even if you've got those bumps. But maybe, you know, things like the Stravinsky octave or something that's maybe a little bit more involved. If you don't have the control right here, it could do damage to the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anything we can do now to help those habits is going to be awesome. This is A, right on A. Connection, right? The proper utilization of the baton is to assist you in getting your message out to the group. So the best that we can develop really good habits for that, the more musically you'll be able to do, and that's what we want, right? We've got like maybe a couple more seconds. Is this everything and more that you could have ever wanted it to be?
I mean, no, I could.
Right. We got one more chance, I think, for time. Do everything that you could possibly want,
Okay.
however that means. You guys tried something, right? You had an idea and you elicited a response. And now you can work on what you want to do to clarify that.
Idea.
But the important part is that you're getting outside of yourself and you're eliciting requests of the ensemble. And that's all this is, right? That's what we're working on. Thank you, Serena.
Great. It is a laboratory. So you get to try things and nothing blows up. There's no eye wash station. There might be some. Not today. Oh, we're changing our affect. We're wearing a hopeful green.
It's more of like a hobo look.
We want people to grow. So a lot of improvement. Where I'm seeing the most improvement is here, in the wrist. Every once in a while, and I hope you catch it on the video, although it's kind of at an angle where maybe it's not. Sometimes these two things are disconnected, the baton and the hand, and sometimes they're connected. And you want them to be connected. What you don't want to look like is, I'm just kind of picking this thing up and using it because I have to and it's icky. All right, we don't want that. We want these things to be very connected. When you are connected, and it's mostly this looks really, really good. The one thing I want to make you wary of is the thumb. It looked a little flat to me, and when it was, that's when your arm kind of locks up like this, rather than just keeping the thumb very pliable, very flexible so that it can move. Okay? Could you conduct a bit at the beginning again for us, and just focus on that. Just connecting the hand with the baton and getting all that nice gooey information out to the tip of the baton. Once more, and you gave the prep with both hands and then immediately dropped your left hand. Okay, so option A is if I'm going to immediately drop my left hand, that's usually a sign that it didn't have much to say in the first place, so maybe I'm just going to try to start with my right hand. Or if I feel compelled because of this moment to use both hands, then something has to happen here that gives me a reason to keep my left hand saying something. What could it say?
I want it to decay a little bit, so 1, 2.
Okay, so how do we show decay? Well, not down, because down's going to have a different effect. It's about in.
Okay.
Now, in can involve a little bit of down, but this is different, because then the bottom's going to drop out dynamically. This is decay, or recede, like a wave, like those waves out there. On to the beach, and then off. Okay, try it. So give your left hand something to say. And that's one idea. Or it could just say sustain, sustain, sustain. They will probably instinctually decay, because they're good musicians and they know, okay, I'm going to make a nice pretty taper into the silence. So just encouraging the sustain might be helpful, okay? So, ensemble, could you find the last measure of page 19 and play the downbeat for me? Now, this of course, we haven't done any harmonic analysis, but let's hear this downbeat of this bar, and you're just going to tell me what's going on here. Consonant or dissonant? Yeah, right? And it is what kind of dissonance? Does it seem like it's a... What's happening there?
Oh, suspension.
Yeah, and without it actually being suspended across the bar line. But yeah, he does repeat this note here, right? So let's see what the resolution is going to be like. Here's the downbeat. Here's the resolution. Okay, so now, go back to high school orchestra when your orchestra director said, we have dissonance and consonance, or some people call it stress and relief. What do we do about that?
So gooier and
Oh, I love that word, gooey. Yeah, it is a gooey moment, right? So what do we do with the stress? The tension.
just, what do you?
Is it more important? Is it going to be emphasized more than?
Emphasize, yeah.
Okay. So how are we going to communicate that? Because what we don't want is dee da.
So for sure, dynamically more, and then just a little bit.
Can you show without any beats? Okay, let me give you an idea. It's one idea. Here's the downbeat.
Yeah.
Why not? Try that. You just do that.
Wait, so without beating?
Yeah, just show them this. They don't need beats. They need shape.
Right.
They need idea. Good. Can you make it one idea rather than two? Okay? And make the baton part of helping you do that. Okay? Watch again. Watch again. Rather than this idea, it's one idea, one gesture. Just like they're playing, one gesture. Right now, it's about preparing that. La da dee da dee da dee. So how we prepare that moment is important as the moment itself. Let's go from the top again. Why am I digging into that? Because you're good enough to do it. Okay? Here we go. I might say things along the way. Don't stop. I can't do anything beyond that. And that's fine, you don't know how to do that yet. So, we're out of time, I got 30 seconds. So tell me what your big takeaway is from all of this.
Well, definitely the connecting this to
Yeah, right.
this, and just, I mean, I have a little bit more ideas what to do if you're not.
Right, so you've got to pick out, okay, this is important to me, how do I show that? I'm gonna go after that. And I knew for you, I was like, I'm gonna go after that suspension,
Yeah.
okay?
that's good.
So, nice job, Amy, thank you. So, I believe, on Friday, okay, great. So, Group B, thank you for being the sacrificial lambs, we appreciate that. You went in head first. And we're quite successful.
Observation.
We're doing it today. Yep, that's good. That's about all you can do. Well, that is a microphone.
Dude, that's a metro.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Hey.